one last thing on Trent, really, before we kind of sweep this under the carpet. But I was watching Back Pages tonight on Sky last night, and David Ornstein was on there, and he was speaking about the Trent Alexander-Arnold situation. And I wrote this down last night on my phone because I wanted to not forget about it and read it out to you guys today. So David Ornstein mentioned that Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to sign a 6-year contract at Real Madrid, which is a real slap in the face to Liverpool fans. Another slap in the face, because he refused to sign more than a 4-year deal with us on his last contract extension, which coincidentally brought him right up to when the peak of his career started. And Liverpool offered him a 5-year deal. At the time, Alisson signed a 6-year deal. They gave 4-year deals, I believe, to Andy Robertson and I think it was Jordan Henderson back then. I can't remember. But Trent turned down a 5-year deal, signed a 4-year deal, and is now willing to go over to Madrid and sign a 6-year deal. That feels snide to me. Genuinely, it does. And it's like, that's from David Ornstein. So it's hardly some Johnny-come-lately who's making up about a 6-year deal. He said it on Back Pages tonight. You can rewatch it yourself and see. And then Arsene Wenger said, when probed about Real Madrid unofficially approaching Trent Alexander-Arnold, Wenger smiled and said this: Real Madrid approached Trent a long time ago. So again, it looks like Trent has been manipulating the situation for this move for quite a while. The Migro said, what's happening with his mural of him and his quote? I believe it's staying as it is. At least yesterday I had read that there was no plans to remove the mural. Now look, one thing is important here. We're all feeling rightly pissed off by the Trent situation, right? Some people are a bit more calm about it, but those of us who are annoyed by it, one thing we have to be careful of here is to not whitewash history in its entirety. So I'm angry at Trent. I think he's been a little coward, and I don't like what he's done. But I feel like we do need to acknowledge that he did play a part in our success. We do need to acknowledge that he was part of the team that's won the Premier League twice. And we can't whitewash our history by just removing Trent like that completely. Now, it's not for me to tell Scousers or people who have murals on their house what to do or what not to do. That's not my business to stick my nose in. But I think it is, we can talk about him as a Judas. We can talk about him as somebody who left and didn't give the club a transfer fee, and we can be really annoyed about it. But he is part of our club's history as well, and he was part of that team that delivered the first league title in 30 years. So for that reason, I feel, as much as you might not believe this, I feel like I'm actually holding back from how I would react to this in other situations because of that respect, if you want to call it that, for what he did when he was here. I don't like the way he left, though. Martin Aston said, everyone's entitled to an opinion on Trent, but for me, not happy about the way he went about it, but glad he gave me some happy times. Yeah, I would agree. He was part of some of the best nights we've had as Liverpool fans, but you're right. The way he left certainly undermines a large part of the goodwill that Liverpool fans would have. Craig, Barca 4-0 is 6 years ago today. 6, I know. I'll never ever forget that. Never ever going to forget that Conor Bradley taking quickly corner. As long as I live. It's ingrained in my memory. And fair play to the ball boy that gave Conor Bradley the ball for the corner taken quickly there as well. I can remember it like it was yesterday. Ball boy rolls it out. Bradley quickly takes it. Divock Origi sweeps it into the net. And the rest, as they say, is history. Harry said, hi Craig, LFC posted Barca photos today and they didn't show the corner photos. I thought it was a bit strange not to include the corner photo. Look, it feels like the club are a little bit annoyed by what Trent has done. I mean, I highlighted the other day the difference of the two posts for when they announced that Divock was going to be leaving and when they announced that Trent was going to be leaving. I don't still have the post here, but it said basically Divock Origi has announced that he will be leaving Liverpool Football Club at the end of the current season. The club want to thank Divock for his services, and they said Divock legend. And with Trent, they said, Trent Alexander-Arnold has informed Liverpool Football Club that he will be departing at the end of the season. End of post. Nothing about yay or thanks or all the best or legend or anything like that. So it definitely does feel like the club feel hurt by this. Now they, of course, will be classy about it publicly, but it does get the feeling that the club are pissed off by the way Trent went about this. Paul Joyce, earlier on today, or maybe it was yesterday, posted a piece that said that Liverpool made Trent the first offer 14 months ago for his new contract. So let's time this out. That's pretty much not too long after the Klopp situation, if my maths is correct. So Liverpool would have known where they were headed in that direction. Trent would have had a better idea of who was coming in and what the future looked like. So 14 months the club have been trying to get Trent sorted out for, and he dragged it out and then announced he was leaving the way he did. So, and also that felt coordinated as well, because no sooner had Trent made his little crocodile tears video than Real Madrid were on the blower trying to sort out getting him released from Liverpool early. And that's another interesting thing about Liverpool's post, because the post clearly said when his contract expires. Trent will be departing when his contract expires, which is the end of June. James said, Craig, I'm curious if Trent will be getting game time in the last 3 games. I should bloody well hope not. I should hope not. I wouldn't even be putting him in the matchday squads. You know, if he has the brass neck to want to be there on the last day of season and on the bus, whatever, but I wouldn't be putting him in the matchday squads. Not a fucking chance. What's the point of it? You know, one, let's say, you know he's going to play half-arsed because he has a move to Real Madrid and he's not going to want to get an injury that's going to put that at risk. So it would make 0 sense to give him any minutes whatsoever. Surely you've got to play Bradley, because if nothing else, you want to see how Bradley gets on for these next 3 games. You want to see if he is going to be the guy that we hope he all is. And we want to see as well that he can play these 3 games without picking up a knock or a strain. So, yeah, for me, it would be common sense to just keep playing Conor Bradley. Will Trent get booed by our supporters if we draw Madrid in the Champions League next season? 100% yes. Not this season, while he's still at the club, I don't think. But he will fall into the Luis Suarez and any other former player category. If he rocks up to Anfield in a Champions League night, he'll be getting whistled and booed every time he's on the ball. And rightly so. Not because of anything other than you're the opposition. And one thing that's been winding me up a little bit is some Liverpool fans trying to make out like Real Madrid aren't a rival of ours. If it wasn't for Real Madrid, Jurgen Klopp would have a load more Champions Leagues. How many finals have we played them in? You know, Real Madrid are a rival. And Trent willingly went there. So if he shows back up at Anfield for a competitive game of football, yes, he'll be getting whistled, jeered like any other opposition player. You know, it is what it is now. You made your bed. You don't get the backing and the support that the Kop and Anfield used to give you. Yeah, how do you think fans will react towards him on the trophy lift was the second part of it. It depends how he goes about the day. So, if I'm Trent, in all honesty, I'm getting my medal and I'm fucking off down the tunnel. You know, I'm not doing a lap of honour, and I'm not just not fronting up to it, in all honesty. I think I feel like I have a bit of a brass neck doing that, heading off, but I also wouldn't be getting on the bus for the parade, so if I was in Trent's shoes. But again, this is kind of uncharted territory for us, so we're going to have to wait and see. The other players in the past, the likes of a Steve McManaman and a Michael Owen, they left the Liverpool team that were struggling to win trophies. This lad ran down his contract to leave a team who've just won the Premier League. So can't say he wasn't going to get silverware at Liverpool. Can't say that Liverpool weren't a competitive team. So he left for selfish reasons entirely. And that's okay, it's his career. But again, you have to be adult about the fallout from that as well. The real Johnny Sins, Craig, said, I wouldn't call Madrid our rivals. They absolutely 100% are our rivals. How many Champions League finals have we played them in? So if you don't think they're our rivals, then I don't know, man. I disagree with you strongly on that one. Jurgen Klopp would have had a couple more Champions Leagues if Real Madrid weren't in existence. So I would call them rivals personally.